Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Doing Life with Sam and Kiri. We're looking forward to today's, not session, show. We're going to discuss some
Sounds
awesome
like a counselling
stuff.
session.
Well, it should be. It needs to be for some people. But you know what? We're looking forward to discussing some stuff. But one thing we like is your feedback and even, how can I put it? Requests for topics and different things, and then we can, in the weeks to come, do that. But it's us.
Yeah, hi everyone. Great to have you guys join us again. As you would have seen, we weren't here last Thursday because you know what? When we kicked off Doing Life with Sam and Kitty, this was during COVID lockdown. And so we were like, you know what? Let's just get on there. Well, guys, we're not in lockdown anymore. We've got busy lives. So, no, we decided that we might make it fortnightly. So we're going to be on here every fortnight, Thursday, 12:30 for your midweek check-in. And so, yeah, good to be back on here with you. And as you will see in the title, the topic of what we're going to be discussing today, usually what we discuss is something that's either been stirring in us or something we're discussing that we think is relevant, that a lot of people can relate to. And what we've got on there is what really matters. And I think this is going to be a great discussion because as we know, over the last 6 months plus, it sort of keeps getting extended 6, 7, 8, 9 months. It's been really full on actually. There's our lifestyle as we know it, the world that we're in as we know it is very different to what it was 6 months ago. And so what really matters is kind of like, I don't know, maybe during this time people have had a chance to stop and reflect and look at their lives and reevaluate the things that are important, reprioritize things. And so we thought it would be a really good thing to discuss.
Yep.
And just one thing we were talking a bit about was like when you think about your family, your loved ones, the people that you're close to, the people that are the most important to you in your life, it's quite often that, hey, we're all guilty of it. We can take them for granted. We can be familiar and used to having them around and seeing them around and popping over to visit them and see them. But then you know, situations like COVID happen. And for us, we were just saying the other day, because Samuel's parents and all his family and my sister live in New Zealand, it almost feels like we may as well be living like halfway on the other side of the globe.
On the moon.
Yeah, well, exactly, because
you can't fly anywhere.
we used to have the idea of, oh, we're only a 3-hour flight away from each other. If we miss each other, we can just jump on a plane. But all of that's changed.
Well, my mum would every 2 or 3 months she'd be over
Well,
here.
whenever she wanted to,
She's finding it hard, to be honest, as well, and we are, but the kids, she misses the kids, and you know, I know for sure they miss seeing their family. So it has changed a lot of things, and there's one thing I was thinking as you're saying that, Hun, is don't get used to, well, there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about do not be conformed to the pattern. Goes on to say the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. But I hate the term, this is the new normal, or get used to this. I don't like that because it doesn't have to be that way, because most of the things that we have to kind of conform to at the moment are to do with fear and you know, the potential spread of a disease, and that's true. But I think what we don't want to do is get into the patterns and the grooves of going with the culture and the structure that's put in front of us. So it's just a thought I had, is like, we don't want to get into that kind of that mindset of we can't do this anymore, or traveling's going to be different now, or gathering with people is going to be different, because I just don't like that.
don't like getting put into
So that's a side
pattern,
note. I don't.
No, but yeah, you're right though, Han. Like, it's easy to conform to the new norm. It's easier to start to accept all those kinds of things. But the reality is I think the most important thing in what we're talking about today is what really matters is our family, the people that we love. And yes, we're all pursuing more in our lives. Yes, we've all got amazing dreams and visions and aspirations. But in the end, like, when it really comes down to it, it's the ones that we care about the most, our loved ones, that are the most important to us. And all the amazing things that you can accomplish on this earth, all the amazing things you can possess, are going to mean very little when, you know, towards the end of your days or during those times where you really
True.
look at what really matters and what's really important. And I also just, you know, just thinking about, like, just want to send some love actually to our beautiful family, our Warren family, who are farewelling their beautiful mum, Nana Warren, who to many of us, you know, we all know Nana Warren really well. And so, yeah, just want to send some love to our Warren family as they are, you know, preparing to farewell their mum and Nana. And, you know, it's definitely times like that when you really do stop and reflect on the things that are important and those that we can take for granted, who are right there beside us, who are just around the corner, who are just a couple of hours drive away. And then one day they're not, you know what I mean? Like, they're just, you can't just pick up the phone and call them. So I was just thinking a bit about that as well. And, you know, so it just made me think, what is really important to us, eh? And that's the kind of stuff that we thought would be good to discuss and talk about today.
Yeah.
What's important, honey?
Carry on, carry on. Nah, it is true. Look, obviously, what we're talking about today is the whole. You can pursue all sorts of things, like I'm trying to advance in my career, or I want to make more money, or I'm trying to do this and do that. But before you know it, years have passed by, and the ones that you love, the closest ones that can be right in front of you, or that can be a little bit far away. You know, in years to come, those are the things that are really going to matter, is those relationships, the value of time you've spent with parents or grandparents and those sorts of things. And so, yeah, I think that's really where we want to get to today, is that, look, you can gain the world and have the riches and all these beautiful things that we think we need and want. But a lot of the times when people are coming to the end of their days, it's how much time did I spend with my children, or how much time and effort did I put into those key core relationships that I have around me. And so that's really, I think for us, it's just scaling it back to what really matters in life. You know, the flashy house and the cars and all those things, they don't really mean much at the end of the day, or they mean nothing at the end of the day. It's the valuable connections that we have with those that are around us. So, look, I think for us, it's just, I suppose we want to put a encouragement to everyone who's watching, is that, when was the last time you reached out to the close ones in your life? Let me even go a layer deeper. If there's anything that separates you from that relationship, do you have the power to change that?
Yes.
Because I often talk with different ones, and I haven't, you know, they say, I haven't talked to my son for 2 years, or I haven't talked with my father for 3 or 4 years. And in fact, we had one of the guys in church actually come up to me on Sunday, and he was like excited as, and he goes, "Pastor, you know how we had a chat at the cafe?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "My daughter, how, you know, we haven't talked for a couple of years or something. Well, she rang me, or, you know, or I rang her, and we had this discussion," and he was so excited. And I was blessed by that. And when he walked away, I was also thinking, man, how many people out there have just kind of consigned it to, oh, it's a relationship that's gone, it's too far gone, I can't fix it. And I think, if anything today, if we can get through to one person today, is, can you heal or mend that relationship? Is there something in your heart that can be changed in order to allow a greater love to come through? Because, I mean, Christ is the ultimate example to us, is that none of us were deserving of his grace and his forgiveness and his mercy, yet he still loves us. And I think even as believers in Christ, that sometimes we can get stubborn and say, oh, well, they done this and they done that. But to be the bigger person is to actually go humbly in the way to mend that relationship. So that's the encouragement I'd give to anyone today, is that, look, especially those who are like your immediate family, how can you mend those relationships? How can you be a part of restoring some of those things?
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's, you know, that really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Like, the real things that matter. And I think you're right, you hit that there, is that there can be a lot of unforgiveness, there can be a lot of hurt and a lot of pain that people carry, and they don't have a relationship with their parents or their siblings or their, people that are close to them because
Yeah.
of a pain or a hurt. And one thing I was thinking is like, are you going to allow a temporary, or like a pain or a hurt affect you
Yeah.
for the rest of your life? And and I'm not saying it's justifiable. Like, often it is justifiable. Often things people have said or done, or
Yeah.
the way they spoke to me, the way they treated me, the way they made me feel humiliated. You don't know what they did to me.
Yeah.
You don't know what they took from me. I completely understand that, but that's where forgiveness is a huge thing, because the only person who ends up being affected for a lifetime becomes you.
Yeah.
If you hold that hurt and that pain towards, especially a close family member, and within your immediate family, or somebody that's close
Well,
to you.
especially parents, brothers and sisters, and kids.
Yeah.
That one there, that needs to. I'd be instantly fighting for peace in that regard. And look, my wife's right. Granted, they may have been in the wrong, but the bigger place that you have to come from is that, look, regardless of that, love covers a multitude of sin.
Yeah.
So I'm going to love in the situation. And look, I'm not going to promise and say it's going to be the instant click of a finger and it's going to be healed. Look, you might turn up and they're like, rah, 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 but look, keep turning up, keep making an effort, and trust that God's going to help restore that relationship. But don't get to the end of your days not checking off and dealing with those relationships on that level.
Yeah, I think the sad thing is that unfortunately there's probably too many stories of people who say, I never got a chance. I never got a chance to say I'm sorry, or I never got a chance to mend that relationship.
Yeah.
And now, they have to live with that pain forever.
Yeah.
So for me, like, forgiveness is such a powerful thing, is to actually, and that's why for me it's important to forgive fast, is, like when there is those hurts or those pains or those things that impact you in a negative way, and it causes a wedge in between relationships, then that's where you do have to make the decision of what you're going to do in that situation. Because in the end, it really does matter, is that your love for each other as as family. And like Sam said, when it comes to parents, like, I think it's easy to take for granted, and it's easy sometimes to expect so much from parents. So when they do disappoint you, or when they do make a mistake, like all of us, I think that's one thing I always think of, is often people don't forgive. Often people, Bear, my naughty dog, he's trying to chase a bird that's outside. Often people don't forgive. Often people don't want to mend a relationship. But the reality is that they've made a mistake, yes, but we've all made mistakes. And it's one thing I always think about is grace.
Yeah.
I think about the amount of times I've said something dumb. Like, let's just be real, guys. When I hear people go, oh, Whānau, but you don't know what she said, or you don't know what she did, I'm like, bro, we've all said and we've all done some dumb stuff. Like, let's just be real. If everybody knew every conversation we've had, every discussion we've had, we'd all be villains. Everyone would hate us. Nah, I'm just being honest. Like, the reality is that we've all said some dumb stuff before.
Yeah.
And we have to have the grace for others, because there's been a season and a time where someone's forgiven us.
Yeah.
Where someone's given us grace when we've said something or done something unintentionally even, but we've done it and we've hurt somebody. So I think, like, that's hugely important. And like Sam said, when it comes to your close immediate family, like even me, like I'm constantly challenging myself on the daily not to take for granted the relationships I have around me. Like, obviously our marriage relationship is hugely important. We are literally with each other every day, all day, and we love it. Like, some people are like, oh no, I couldn't handle working with my husband or wife. We'd drive each other crazy. I'm like, we literally will be away from each other for a few hours. We're like, when are you coming home? Where are you? So
except if I'm playing basketball, honey.
I come watch you. I'm going to come watch you tonight.
That's us. We're on.
But, like even my parents, I was just thinking about it earlier, and my mum and dad who live with us, I've pretty much my whole entire life had my parents living in the same house with me, aside from maybe 3 years max of my whole entire life. Maybe 3 years max they've not lived with us. I think there was only a small season when they lived here in Australia. I think it only ended up being 6 months. But aside from that, my parents have always lived with me. So I'm constantly challenging myself not to be familiar. Just being really open with you guys, not to be, just take the relationship and my mum and dad are here with me for granted. Because I know I easily can, because it's just like, oh yeah, mum and dad, you know, like, but the reality is that they're not going to be here for forever. And so you have to stop sometimes, stop your busy life, stop your busy schedule and be like, hold on a second, like time is so important. Time is such a valuable commodity, and we can actually invest that time now so that later on in life we can be grateful that we used our time wisely when we had those who we love the most with us. So yeah, it is really a really good self-reflection to stop and think about all those things and all those people around us and not take people for granted. And another thing I had too was like, you know, have compassion and be gracious to others and show love, like be kind. And I just, did you want to jump in first? Because I've got another story.
Go for it, man.
I just wanted to share a little quick story of one of our beautiful new mamas. She shared it, so and I won't mention names, but I was just thinking about having compassion and showing grace and love to strangers, to people. And because you don't really know what people are going through, you don't really know what kind of situations they're in. And we have a beautiful mum in our church young mum, she's got like 3 under 3. She's got a 2-year-old and maybe he's 3, and two twin newborn baby girls. Now she was on her way to hospital with one of her twins in the car. And of course, you know, that's already stressful enough for a young mum who's already trying to manage 2 twin newborns and having to go get a baby checked at hospital. But on her way there, she had, obviously a bit of road rage and an abusive driver just hurling abuse at her and being horrible to the point that it just brought her to tears, and she just obviously broke down. And, you know, she shared this and I was just like, oh my gosh, you know, like it's so horrible that happened to her. Like little does that person know, who maybe just got a little bit ticked off because you didn't do something right, or they're in a hurry and you're in the way, like, and they're so horrible and treating you so nasty, not knowing what that person's going through. And so it just made me realize, like, for all of us and even for myself, is like, just slow down a little bit and just take a step back instead of just, you know, like being so driven on your own path that you just bowl and steamroll people over on your way there to wherever your destination is, and you forget that, hey, these are people behind there who have lives, who maybe are going through some tough times and difficult situations. So have compassion, you know, have a bit of empathy, have a bit of grace, and show some love and slow down. And one thing I've been saying to Samuel is like, I need to get my head up more, because you know what, I'll be honest with you, if I'm sitting in a doctor's appointment or if I'm waiting for something, this is what naturally you do. Hey, we can probably all agree, is put our heads down on our phone, check our messages, check social media, do something on our phone, whatever. And there's people all around you that you don't even get to just look at eye to eye and smile at. So yeah, I just think those are the kind of things that I think about now, that I reevaluate in myself of what really matters, like what's really important, and how can you show love to somebody else, even to a complete stranger, and lift their spirits and empower them a little bit and just give them a good experience for the day, because that might be the only positive experience they get. So yeah, that's a lot of words and
good,
a lot
honey.
of discussion.
That's you. You're out fighting this one for us today, I suppose.
No, it was good though. But what you said was great.
And you've loaded up with it. It's good.
Yeah, but I think what you were saying too, is about that forgiveness, about that.
Yeah, that's
mending those relationships.
I only really had one thought today, and it was that man, how tragic to go through life with regret. At the time, you're like, oh well, you know, they're this and they're that, and they done this or they didn't do that. So you just live your life kind of tucking it away until the crunch comes and that person's no longer with you. Then now, how does it feel? So yeah, I think that's just the crux of it, is go through life and just check everything off, like, have I mended, have I done the things that, and that goes also too with living your life to the fullest, like what really matters, like the priorities of your life. Like where you're spending the amount of energy and time.
True.
So, look, money is something we need, right? Money is something we need. We work for it. And a lot of people crack me up, because they go, oh, you know, da-da-da, and don't serve money, and all these people doing these business things or whatever, and they're chasing money, yet they'll go to work from 9 till 5. That's a long time to be chasing money, and that's another topic. But what I want to say to you is that you have to prioritize where you allot your time. I mean, people don't even flinch when they say, oh, I can't make ministry or church, or I've got work. They don't even flinch. But that is actually quite a big thing, is that the amount of energy and time that goes into money, and that's what I'll put at the front, because it's one thing that man really is governed by a lot of the time. The next thing is just different pursuits, like social pursuits, things that we do for our own lives and things we enjoy. But you have to start to line it all up and say, what of this really has eternity attached to it? So God's realm. And then the next thing I'd think about is family and your purpose in life. And then everything else needs to take a far second to those things, because those are the priorities in life. Look, I see a lot of people these days are in balance with their time. And it's on topic because we're talking about what really matters. So they're unbalanced with their time. So this next season in their life pops up all of a sudden. They're just pursuing hard out and almost forget about the priorities of their life. And then they'll swing back to the priorities of their life. And then the next thing will pop up, and it's to do with having a midlife crisis or whatever, and then they're out for that, you know, and then, it's about money, and they're out for that. But what you have to understand is that the priority of life, which is kingdom building, and the family and the building of your children, because even that, our kids won't be here forever. Like my son, he's 16? Our daughters are growing up to, you know, like he's going to be driving a car around soon and all these different things. And so eventually they're not going to be with us. So we have to prioritize and look at all the different aspects of time value and where it is allotted to. And sometimes we can get so busy and I'm trying to achieve my goal in my my career or my business or what I love to do or my exercise or whatever. And tragically, we can disregard the things that do really matter. So look, I put my hand up and say that's something we can always check in on. But I do believe that consistency of investment into those things that really matter is what gets the result.
What you invest in is going to produce a harvest.
Yeah.
It's going to produce fruit. And so I even think about, like, hearing you say that is often people go, when I get here, then I'll make a change.
Yeah.
So like, say for example, if it's like, oh, I've just got to work these super duper long hours.
Yeah.
And then when I get to this level in life, then I'll pull back.
Yeah.
But the honest truth is, if you can't make change now or make a decision to make a shift now, it's not going to come. It's kind of like, reminds me of like somebody who's a giver. They're either generous or they ain't, you know. I'm just being very honest. Whereas some people think, oh no, when I'm a millionaire, I'm going to give people this, and I'm going to go down to the shops and buy people food and feed the homeless when I'm a millionaire. The reality is if you can't even like walk past somebody busking or someone singing who sounds amazing and throw like $5 in, forget saying, when I'm a millionaire, I'm going to do this. Like, that's the thing. And so I think about like what you're investing in. Like, so it's a good time to look at the things that you invest your time and effort into. And if you find yourself 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 4 years, 7 years, 8 years later, still saying, I'm just waiting until we get to this level, then we're going to make a change, it's probably not going to happen. So it's just making those shifts and making those changes and those decisions.
There are seasons where you have to work certain grounds and plough it before you can sow and do it. But it's just when that becomes so imbalanced and people go, like you said, oh, I'm just going to work this until this happens. Sometimes you have to step off the boat in order to walk on the water, but also to go into another place, into another blessing. And so, look, we've found that in our own lives is sometimes all the ducks aren't lined up. I'm just getting things lined up. Or there's a saying that goes, you can't wait for the perfect conditions. You know, sometimes you just have to
Yeah.
sail off or
They'll
start.
never be perfect.
Yeah. So, you don't want to be spending your life waiting for the perfect conditions when you set the tone and you set the conditions yourself. And but definitely
Yeah.
that time factor, Time
factor, investment now, sowing now, giving now. Like, do it now.
Yeah.
Don't wait till later, and do it in whatever capacity you can. If you want to give, if you want to bless others, if you want to be generous, do it now.
Yeah.
And when I say be generous, it doesn't mean you have to go out and buy people, you know, big expensive gifts. It might be just saying to that person when you go up to the counter, like, oh, I'll pay for your coffee. You know, like, find ways to be generous and giving now. Like, don't just wait until when I'm rich. When I'm rich, I'm going to do this now. Anyway, I feel like we've kind of gone way off topic. But no, it is about priorities. It is about looking at that. And I think that's a great way of looking at it, is where I'm sowing my time, where I'm sowing my energy and my effort, where is that going to grow? What am I investing into? Is it my family? Is it the people that I love the most? Am I investing my time and energy and effort into them? Or is it in things that aren't really equating to much? And so really finding those things that matter. Yeah, good. Very good. And just the last note, like Sam said, is want to encourage you, if you have got any relationships in your family that need mending, that need reconciliation, like, strongly encourage you to deal with it. Deal with that situation, speak to that person, pick up the phone. Don't be so stubborn.
Yeah.
And often people say, I'm not ringing them, I haven't heard from them in ages, they never call me.
They've got my number.
They never invite me
ones.
to dinner. Well, when was the last time you invited them to dinner? When was the last time you picked up the phone and called them? So that's the thing, is we've got to ask ourselves those questions. Don't be stubborn and prideful. Let down your pride and just pick up the phone or get in the car, go for a visit. And just pull down all those walls that can stop your go forward and your beautiful relationships that you have. But yeah,
that's us.
Pretty much it.
Yep. Final charge for me is live life to the full. Invest your time into things that really do matter eternally and with your family and friends. And don't conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind daily to walk as Christ and to be bigger, to bless others, and to have victory in everything that you touch. Amen.
Amen.
That's us.
Love it.
God bless you. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time.
Bless you guys. See ya.